we're going to start with Jenny. I love this picture of Jenny and Alan because they met sailing, so it seems only appropriate that this picture is a sailing picture. So Jenny, I'm actually going to stop the share so we can see you up front and center. So go ahead and tell everybody, you know, how we met and basically what was going on for you at the time when we met.
Yeah, so we met at the beginning of 2000. Well, we met we did a networking event. And then I remember Karen and I had her card. And when some really bad things happened to the relationship that I was in, it fell apart very fast. And it was a 6-year relationship. And it ended really badly. And I reached out to Karen. I had to leave suddenly with my kids. And I didn't know, you know, this was a relationship after the divorce, so it was 2 big fails, and that's how I felt. I felt like a failure. I felt awful. I was grieving. I was in a job I hated, and I felt stuck. I felt stuck in life and a failure. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when we met at the networking event, and you know, on the one hand, I thought you were so peppy and bubbly, but you could just tell that your energy was down, right, from what it normally would be. And I remember that you were just kind of feeling stuck, right, and thinking there wasn't other possibilities for you. And part of the job of a coach is to see the possibilities that are there for somebody. So, you know, I guess tell people a little bit about what work you did and how things are now, what's going on for you now, because quite a bit has changed.
Yeah. So fast forward 4 years and like pretty much everything has changed. So I managed, after, you know, trying to leave that job I hated for 5 years, I finally, things opened after I started working with Karen. Suddenly, okay, that was the first breakthrough. I got a job that I love and I'm still at. And then after that, I bought a house that I absolutely love. And I created a single lifestyle living in my house, and I was out hiking and kayaking and camping and climbing mountains and all sorts of things, and it was wonderful. And then I decided, okay, I'm going to learn how to sail too, because I used to do that when I was younger, and and Karen had said, you know, do things that you are passionate about, refine yourself. You know, so it was about me, and not feeling guilty about it's all about me, because for so many years as a mom, as a partner, it was all about everybody else. And so it was really liberating to go, okay, it's all about me, and that is not a bad thing. It is not a thing I have to feel guilty about. So yeah, I took sailing lessons, and I was out sailing. I did my certificate. I got my certificate for basic cruising, and I was out on a cruise with a crew of 4, and I met Alan, and it was awesome.
And I want to pause here for a minute for a couple of reasons, because, you know, with your job, I remember you saying, oh, I'm stuck, you know, I've got a pension, I have to do this job. And I'm like, no, there's no have to's in life. What do you want? And it was through doing the work to build, you know, a really clear picture of what you wanted for your career, and also doing the work to change your beliefs about it, that you lined up with this really amazing job that you have now.
Absolutely. Yeah. And there was so much about what Karen was saying that I didn't quite buy into. I was not the best client, I think. I did all the work and I wanted to change. I had super motivation, but a lot of what she said didn't click. It didn't make sense to me. It wasn't my experience. So I couldn't believe it. I know she said you have to believe this, but it's hard to just go click. I now believe this. This is not how I have experienced life. Now I can look back and it seems so very clear. Of course I have to believe this. And of course, this is the way that you should frame things. And of course, things will align once you start believing and making these changes and really changing the way that you're looking at things and knowing yourself. But at the time, it didn't all click. Now looking back, I can say, yes, absolutely. The things that Karen taught me, I would not have learned on my own. I really wouldn't have. I would have read lots of books, but and then I would have said, yeah, well, that's for somebody else. Yeah, well, that's for somebody else. And even with Karen, I kept saying, yeah, well, that's for somebody else. And she kept telling me, no, it's not for somebody else. It's for you.
It's funny. You did give me a run for my money at first. I remember you talking about wanting to leave your baggage in the closet. And
Oh, yeah. Wanting to be angry. I wanted to stay angry.
And you convinced yourself, speaking of beliefs, that I distinctly remember you saying to me, oh, there's nobody for me, not just in Ottawa, but in Canada. Jenny had convinced herself she was going to have to go to another country because there just could not be somebody here for her in this country, let alone this city. And I called that out as a limiting belief too. And we did some work around shifting that, right? And lo and behold, you found the perfect guy for you right here in our fair city, right? So,
and not only that, what's hilarious is I was absolutely convinced that there wasn't a guy for me, because I'm quirky, and I can't imagine that there's anybody as quirky as me, or quirky in the same way, anywhere near. So it's got to be somebody international. And then it turned out Alan lives literally 6 kilometers. He's walking distance from my house. So there's the irony in that.
Yeah, exactly. And I have met Alan, and oh my gosh, these two people are 2 peas in a pod. Like, if I couldn't have picked a person for Jenny. So tell us about Alan. What was different about him than the guys you had dated before?
Yeah, so the interesting thing is that when Karen says, you know, you will overlook sometimes the good guys, I absolutely overlooked Alan the first time I met him. I actually carpooled with him to a meetup event. And I thought, yeah, okay, basic guy, whatever. See, we didn't talk very much. And I was flirting with somebody else at the time. And then when we went sailing, we had to carpool down to Kingston together because we lived so close that it made sense for us to carpool. And we were driving along, we're talking about, you know, being single and relationships. And he said, you know, people, they should teach this in school. Like, this is so fundamental to what we need to know about. And they should be teaching this in school. And I'm a teacher, and I've said exactly those words to Karen so many times. And when he said that, my ears went ping. That was on the way down to the cruise. So then the rest of the weekend, I was like, the radar was on.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, what do you love most about Alan and about your relationship now?
You know, it is a very different relationship from what I've experienced before, because before I was attracting, I'm very giving and an empathetic person, so I was attracting the narcissists and so forth. What is so different about Alan is it's a feeling of safety that I never had before. When you talk about safety, it didn't make sense to me before because I didn't know what that meant. Now that I've experienced it, I know exactly what you mean by that. And I know he has my back. He is generous of spirit and generous in giving in exactly the same way I am. And I have never found a partner who was generous in the way I am. And so it's like a mutually generous thing that has never happened before for me. He wants to give and help me as much as I want to give and help him, and we both do that. He's playful, he's quirky like I am. We have similar, like I said, similar quirkinesses. We're creative, we laugh a lot. We have the same vision for the future. And that was the other thing. I wasn't ever going to find anybody who had the same vision of the future as me, because mine was like, okay, what I want to do is I want to retire in a really weird and exotic country far away and do like very different things. And when I told him that, he's like, oh, that's amazing, because I've always thought I would like to do something like that. Oh my goodness. Can't believe it. So we share this vision of the future that involves traveling to weird exotic places and kind of being like, I don't know, a hut on the beach kind of lifestyle. It's great.
That's awesome. You guys are so well aligned. I mean, that's what happens when you're with the right person, right? And you guys have even been shacked up for the whole pandemic together. So if you're going to test your relationship, that's a good opportunity, right? But
yeah, because we were in Quebec, and then it was suddenly you can't. It was either we didn't see each other at all, or we saw each other all the time. So I'm currently at his place, and my son and his girlfriend are at my place. So we had to do all this house shuffling because of the pandemic. But so far, so good. We're having a blast. We're renovating all over the place. We're both extremely energetic, and we're creative. We have vision for things, like to take something and make it into something else. And we're always working on something together. Yesterday, it was a planter on the rooftop terrace, and we put it together. He built it, and he designed it, and we planted it, and he doesn't plant this, so I was the gardener part, and it's fantastic. So that was yesterday's project.
Awesome. I am truly so happy for you guys. It's just been so fun watching you blossom in every way. And I mean, great watching you get the guy, but even before that, watching you on Facebook with all the things you were doing and how you were really just stepping into your life as a single woman. And, you know, it's just been so great watching you grow, Jenny. You absolutely deserve all the happiness you're getting, and you worked for it. And, you know, it shows. So what part of our work together do you think had the greatest impact on you in helping things change?
I think for me, it was a small weekend thing that you did, and it was it was in January. It's January most years, and it's about imagine your most awesome life. Mm-hmm. And before that, I hadn't bothered to think about what I wanted in life. I just flowed, go with the flow, which did not actually work out well for me. So not going with the flow, I had to go through this exercise, and it was really difficult for me, because if you had asked me, well, what kind of a partner do you want? I remember when we started, what kind of, I don't know, somebody nice. That's all I could, like, I didn't know, like, how do you answer that? I have never thought about it. And what do I want? Well, I never thought about what I want, because it's always about what everybody else wants. So that particular workshop forced me to sit down with pen and paper and actually articulate, what is it that I, me, Jenny, being allowed to be selfish and being allowed to dream big as I possibly want. And that was a big thing that you said to me, is like, blow it wide open. So I'm like drawing pictures of myself with the palm trees in the background and a sailboat. And, that was my vision. And it is now something that I'm actually, I'm on track to have that happen. So that was like just the clarity around who I am, what my values are, what I want out of life, what I want out of a relationship, what I want out of a career. Like, that just changed everything from me being a go with the flow and try to make it all work on the fly to, no, I know what I want. Life is short. I got a second shot. I better maximize and better be focused and better try to do those things. So on my deathbed, when I'm looking back, I'm going, yeah, I did the life that I wanted. I didn't live somebody else's life. I lived the life I wanted. And now I'm on track to do that. And that was honestly, and I'm not doing this, guys, for any other reason, just to say thank you to Karen, because I swear I would not have been able to learn that on my own. I just wouldn't have. So. Thank you.
You were a star student, Jenny, and I mean, it's just fantastic how well things have been going for you, and I'm sure they're going to continue. So any words of advice for women who are still looking for love and maybe feeling a little discouraged like you were several years ago?
Yeah, for me, I think words of advice are know what your values are. Like, really define that. I still have a little card in my wallet with, these are my top 10 values, and these are the values that I'm looking for in a partner. And then don't deviate. Be strong. For me, it was hard to say no when I would have somebody who's almost right, but Karen said, no, the values have to be absolutely aligned. You're going to have problems. So being able to say no when those values don't absolutely align. Being strong and courageous to rather than to go along and try to make it work out, which is what I used to do. Oh, if I work really hard at it, if I let that go, it'll be okay. No, it's not. I've made too many mistakes already, and I don't want to do that anymore. And now I feel like it totally pays off. Having a partner who matches with all those values, like, my life looking forward is so exciting. And it would be exciting even if you weren't around, because it would be exciting for me because I know what I want in life. And if he's there, it's better. But if he's not, I'm still going to go do those things. And I'm going to love it. So, yeah.
Awesome. Great job, Jenny. And I'm so, so pleased for you and thrilled. And thank you for sharing your story of inspiration.
Thank you.